Assassin's Creed Black Flag is one of the best entries in the Assassin's Creed franchise. I don't think that's too much of a stretch to claim for many fans. AC3 was the first game in the series to implement boat mechanics, but Black Flag was the first to dive all in. The engaging naval combat and underwater exploration captivated gamers across the world, but it also sparked a light bulb in Ubisoft's head for an idea. Instead of attaching pirates to the AC brand, why not go all in on the idea and create a spin-off series called Skull and Bones? Early development started in 2014, and the first reveal was back at E3 2017. Here we are, 10 years later, and the game's finally releasing this Friday, February 16th, 2024. The thing is, 10 years is a long time ago. Do you know what happened in the last 10 years? Iron Man died, Vine was still a thing, and world-renowned street poet Bobby Shmurda let the world know.
I've been selling tracks since like the 5th grade.
The world has changed, and that presents a new set of challenges for a game first revealed back in 2017. Since Skull and Bones was first shown off, it's been red flag after red flag on display, and things simply can't be ignored anymore. So welcome back to a series I like to call
Flag on the Play.
This is a series where I provide an objective preview of the game prior to its release, and I discuss the warning signs that I've determined to be there. Before we get into it, a quick disclaimer. I don't want Skull and Bones to fail. I know it's some people out there looking forward to it, so I'm hoping it's good because who else doesn't want quality content? This video is simply an objective look at everything we know about it before its release. I also asked you, the viewer, about your concerns with the game, and I'm going to highlight what the community has to say later in the video, so make sure to stick around. Now, without further ado, allow you and I to take a comprehensive look at what the 5 red flags are for Skull and Bones. For the first and most obvious red flag for Skull and Bones, it's the numerous delays. If I could quote the legendary game developer Shigeru Miyamoto, he once said, "A delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad." I find that quote to be true for a game that's been delayed once, maybe twice. But when you start delaying a game 3 or more times, I start to think,
Red flags everywhere?
especially considering the fact this game's been developed by Ubisoft, who hasn't had the strongest track record over the last few years. I took the time to do some research for this video, and I believe this game's been delayed a total of 6 times over the last 10 years. The first delay I can find dates back to 2018, where reports claim the game would launch sometime 2019 or 2020. This was a red flag in itself. I mean, which one was it, 19 or 20? During the earnings report of that year, Ubisoft CEO said, "We've decided to give ourselves more time to develop Skull and Bones to offer players an even more engaging experience." They also went on to say, this is their biggest game yet, and they need more time to build a shared systematic open ocean that captures the essence of the pirate fantasy and is full of activity. The second delay came in 2019. The developers took to Twitter where they said, "We're gonna batten down on the hatches and push back on the game's arrival. This is challenging news for all of us, but it's what's needed to make Skull and Bones as awesome as it can be. Our focus remains on quality first, and we're grateful for your undying support." The third delay, they claim to be targeting a 2022-2023 release window. There was literally no reason as to why it was delayed in this article, which is very strange, by the way. But I did manage to find this report that slightly predates the announcement of the third delay. In this report, they claim the game's in full swing and it has a new vision. So my educated guess is Ubisoft announced Skull and Bones in 2017 without a proper vision. It sounds like they took the approach of, we'll fly this plane while we build it, which is never good. I mean, that's what they did with the G4 reboot, and we saw what happened with that. For the fourth delay, I found this report. It just states it was delayed. No real reason. But I would like to highlight that it does state this was the 4th delay in only 1 year, which is insane. The 5th delay happened September 22nd, 2022. And in this report, Ubisoft claims the game would launch March 2023. They also said, "The game's development is finished at this stage. The extra 4 months will be used to further polish and balance the experience." The 6th delay happened on January 11th, 2023. In this report, it states the game was delayed, nothing else. I think at this point, it's because Skull and Bones has become that one gay cousin we all got at the family reunion. We all know he's gay. I mean, it's terribly obvious, and nobody cares. We accept him for who he is, but he still ain't coming out. I will say, this article does share that Ubisoft was working on 3 unannounced titles, but they canned them, which means Ubisoft canceled 7 games in the span of 1 year. It makes you wonder how bad those games were if they let those go, but they kept Skull and Bones. Then again, Skull and Bones could be a case of sunken cost fallacy, but who knows? What we do know is that this game is constantly being delayed, and that's never a good sign. This game has been pushed back more than Stephen A. Smith's hairline.
Well, let's be nice. Let's be nice. We don't have to go there. I mean, you're not wrong, but you didn't have to say it. I mean, good Lord.
The second red flag I'd like to highlight is a lesser known one, but probably the biggest one. Raise your hand if you didn't know the Singapore government invested in the development of Skull and Bones. Two things. A, you're stupid for raising your hand because I can't even see you. B, yes, you heard that correctly. Ubisoft got themselves in debt with the feds to produce this game. The headline for this article is priceless. Ubisoft is still making Skull and Bones because a deal with the Singapore government won't let it die. According to this report, current and former developers of Skull and Bones lacked any form of stability. Managers were constantly brought on who would redesign the game from the ground up, only to be replaced by a new manager who would do the same thing. This process has left some of the team feeling demotivated and burnt out. The issues surrounding development are so bad that one of the former developers said the team has become more and more junior because all of the talent, all of the experience would leave constantly. Nobody knew what the fuck they were doing, said an ex-developer. To me, what makes this news a red flag is the game was no longer a labor of love. I'm sure things started out that way, but once that deal was made, it became a forced project. Ubisoft got in bed with loan sharks and you can't play with the feds. Remember what I said in the last section? Ubisoft canceled 7 games in 1 year. Seeing as Ubisoft had no issue canceling 7 games in 1 year, it makes you wonder, would Skull and Bones have been canceled if they didn't take a handout from the government? The third red flag I'd like to highlight is this game's scope. From every preview and beta test we've gotten, this game seems a bit underwhelming. Reason being is, this game's called Skull and Bones, and it's not even a pirate sim. For those of you unaware, it's a boat battling game. And what makes this red flag especially egregious is the fact that Ubisoft had the blueprint right there in Assassin's Creed Black Flag. These people somehow failed an open book test that they created. I mean, the boat battling is cool, exploration is cool, but there's no option to board another player's boat and run a duel. There's no exploring the island on foot. And how the hell did you make a pirate game without swords, pistols, booze, or boobs? In my opinion, this shouldn't even been called Skull and Bones. It should have been a spin-off game called Pirates Creed. Take all the gameplay mechanics from Black Flag, improve them, add more, and make it online with co-op. They could have created a whole spin-off story where you create your own pirate who's given the option to either carry out tasks for the Assassins or the Templar Order, and you can use that money to carry out your own agenda in the story. And based on the side you choose, you can unlock different clothing, weapons, and ship upgrades to use in the game. We could have got quests from Edward, Hatham, Adewale, or that assassin that Edward stole clothes from at the beginning of Assassin's Creed Black Flag that was washed up on the beach. With that, you could have tied it into the greater Ubisoft universe without ruining the AC franchise, and there's still enough wiggle room for it to be its own thing. It would have been much easier to market as well because AC fans would have at bare minimum given it a chance. But no, instead we got a boat battling game that has shit all over the screen like that old Elden Ring Ubisoft meme. The fourth red flag I'd like to talk about is the fact this game drops this week and it's been next to no promotion for it. Let me ask y'all a question. If you produce a game that's being reported to cost over $120 million to develop and you had to ask, no, beg for food stamps from the Singapore government, don't you think it's in your best interest to promote the game so you can recoup your cash and pay off your debts? I mean, outside of the beta they're doing this week, which by the way, that's not a beta, that's a demo. The game drops this week, they ain't changing shit. But yeah, outside of the beta they doing this week, there's been no promotion on this game. It's like they don't even want people to know it dropped. That's a shame too, because it's being reported that the Prince of Persia Lost Crown didn't sell well. Great game, by the way. Ubisoft could really use a W right about now, but it seems like they don't care, so why should we?
It's facts! It's facts! It's in our facts. These sites is in our facts. It's in our facts.
Okay, look, so my fifth and final red flag for Skull and Bones comes from this article. Gamers have expressed concern with the fact this is a $70 game that's been in development hell, yet it's a live service game with microtransactions. When asked to comment on the players' concerns, Ubisoft CEO went on to say, Skull and Bones will be worth it because it's a quadruple A game. This man is just saying anything in hopes y'all will buy something. That is a clear indication of desperation. But yeah, other than that, I don't have any clever commentary on this. I just wanted to share that quote because it was fucking funny and I'm an asshole. So instead, let's move on to the community section of the video. I took to Twitter and my community tab on YouTube to ask you, the viewer, what were your concerns about Skull and Bones leading up to the launch, and here are some of my favorite responses. Ice LaFleur said, I played the beta and I'm not gonna lie, this shit was boring, and the graphics were bad for a $70 game. I think the graphics would be better if they were upscaled Black Flag graphics. It's more like PS3 grade Valhalla graphics. The hair looks awful, characters are lifeless, and there's really no point to being off your ship. Ain't shit to do. It's a glorified menu. And just to explain what he's talking about, in the beta, you create your own character and you're able to walk. There's a hub world. You're able to walk around the hub world, but that's the only place that you can walk on foot. Once you set the 7 seas and you see an island, you cannot go on that island and explore. This is a boat game. Stubbs used the meme to state that he's concerned about the whole thing. He also said in his tweet, originally this was Black Flag DLC in 2013, which I'm not sure if that's true or not. Maybe my editor can bring up like an article. Then it became a spinoff, delayed multiple times, and now it's a quadruple A games as a service. Fellow content creator Mills Twitch said, the only real issue I had was resource harvesting. If someone else harvested, it's still showing up on the map, even though you can't get it, and the regen rates felt slow. It caused a lot of wasted travel time. Other than that, I'm kind of excited. Ace Boogie Games says, I'm having a good time, but I don't see this game lasting very long for me and my friends. Also, I kind of wish you could be on the ship together and work as a crew. I was unaware of that until I saw that tweet. I thought you could at least get on your friend's ship and work together, but according to him, you can't. And Demo goes on to say he played both betas, and to be honest, this is the most lazy and boring pirate game ever. It's no reason to make a pirate game if it has no swords or gun combat. You can't even board ships and take people prisoner. Selly says, everything shouldn't be a live service game, especially if the main game is full price. Second Royal goes on to say, man, I thought this game came out years ago. Darlin Fro says, this game is not going far. From what I played from the demo alone, it's definitely not worth $70. Even 30 would be pushing it. It really felt like they dropped the bag with this one. If they had some For Honor type combat for PvP and PvE, maybe a couple raid missions on land, it wouldn't be that bad. Fancy Panda says from the beta, he doesn't like the missions and the resources. The missions damn near all are just boring fetch quests, along with the resource grinding taking so long just to get stuff to craft a new ship. Hopefully they have missions that are actually interesting and maybe lessen the resource grind. Kaz goes on to say his main concern is the fact that there's a beta a week before the game releases. Certified Hater says, no Edward Kenway, fuck no. CJ Davis says his concern is that it's a freaking boat simulator. I don't think I'm alone when I say, where's the fucking swashbuckling and flintlock action, baby? Big Chili says his concern with Skull and Bones is that it took them 15 years to make Assassin's Creed Black Flag ship simulator, but it's worse. Zoff Ruler says this game is digital. A Plus Genius says his concern with Skull and Bones is that this takes time away from development and attention on games that we really want, like a new Splinter Cell, because no one asked for this. Black Magic says, I'm concerned that people are going to be playing this game instead of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is a better and more worthwhile game. Then 65 Fire Red responds to Black Magic by saying, man, I wouldn't worry about that. If anything, Rebirth will probably give a boost if this game fails and the people refund. And Putang, I'm sorry, I don't know, I butchered your name, I don't know how to pronounce it. He goes on to ask, are you going to be playing Skull and Bones on stream? And I'm glad you asked. The answer is probably not. I'm not gonna lie. Most of the games, contrary to what some of you think, most of these games that I play on my channel, I pay out of my own pocket, so I gotta be budget conscious just like you. And yeah, it's my job and it's a tax write-off, but I can't afford everything. I don't make that type of money, and I highly doubt Ubisoft is gonna send me a free copy of the game, especially after this video drops. So you're more than likely not gonna see me play this one. Hopefully I can get it for free. I don't know. I'm not gonna hold my breath. What you can definitely see me do is share my thoughts on the recently released Suicide Squad game. I got a first impressions video for you, and all you gotta do is click the card on the screen to check it out.